still on this like overwhelm thing. Like this
Girl.
like let's see, too much
Shit.
TMS. Yeah, too much shit on my plate. How do we fix this? Because I guarantee you other people have this problem.
Yes, they do. Okay, so this has been the theme. It's like there's a lot to do, and I'm like, okay, there should be enough time to get this stuff done. And then you either run out of steam or you forgot that, oh yeah, I have to eat and do dishes, so that takes time. Or what the hell? And then you're just like, is this all life is a bunch of tasks?
Right. Am I just going to die with like a to-do list? Like, is it going to be buried with me to take me into the next life?
Yes. It'll be, maybe these are the tasks we didn't finish in our last life. That's possible. Okay. Tell me about the feel, like you're overwhelmed, I'm overwhelmed, whatever. Like, why does it feel more like a struggle now than it did?
You know why? I think I know why. Also, welcome to Flow Getter, guys.
Oh, welcome to Flow Getter. We're talking. Yeah.
We're talking.
Yeah, today we're talking about overwhelm.
Yeah, overwhelm.
Yeah.
I think it's because we are wiser every day and we know better. We know better and know more every day. And that is just sort of like, we know that, our bodies know that, and it's like more resistant. And it's just like, it's harder. It's more of a struggle because we know that life shouldn't look like this. I think, I don't know.
Totally. It shouldn't. It just looks like I don't know if I sent you this. There's this lady on the internet, on Instagram. She's like, I just want to be a tree because she's like, and she goes into this big list of all this stuff and she's totally overwhelmed and it's hilarious. And, I don't know. All I could think of was like, she's not alone. I don't talk to a lot of men, so I don't know. But all the women I talk to feel pretty overwhelmed. There's just a lot going on. And I don't think it's a gender thing. I just don't end up talking to guys. I mean, I have my husband, but he's awesome. But like, I'm not asking, but you're saying, I love what you're saying about wiser, because if you're wiser, like, I'm thinking back to my 30s. I just wanted to be fit. I wanted to have fun. I wanted to get stuff done. I didn't really care about being a super responsible person. I just did whatever, adulting sometimes. So it was like I was totally clueless and just doing my life. And then as you get wiser, you're like, okay, I really should prioritize these things because they're important. But then you're more aware of you need to take good care of yourself, which seems harder because as you get older, you want to take more care of yourself. And then, so it's almost like you're paying more attention to your life, but then it's like almost biting you in the ass. like if I was just a ditz and just was like, whatever I want to do and whenever I want to do it, great. But now I'm like, wait, I want my life to be a certain way and I want this and that. Like, what you want, you have more clarity. And then all of a sudden you're like, shit, I can't even accomplish all of this. And like, you just become more aware of time and space. And I don't know if it's because like we're collapsing the wave more because we're so aware that everything's more real feeling. Like when you're like, la, la, it's just kind of easy come, easy go. But it's like, oh, I definitely want this. And it's like, okay, I've collapsed the waves. Or this is definitely a thing. So I definitely, like all this stuff is kind of realer, I guess I would say, than just kind of like, it kind of doesn't matter. Like, well, it does because, whatever it is, it's from, I don't know. So,
I love
thoughts?
That. Yeah. I also had the thought of, like, you're right. It's sort of like, okay, clarity and awareness, more, it becomes realer. So more dense and more, and then also I'll add the layer of like the physical world, like our bodies. I totally believe that this doesn't have to happen, but my experience has seen otherwise where we just slow down. Our bodies are not what they were in our 20s, you know? So it's like we are forced to slow down. And I do think that that is absolutely, it's a good thing because I think it's basically we come into this life knowing that we are supposed to become more conscious and aware, which we're supposed to slow down. We're supposed to take off smaller bites and because we're supposed to really be more present. And I think that's, you know, and it's really hard to be present when you've filled your to-do list with like, I don't know how many things, you know? So it's like, I want to be present in this task, except I know that I have like 50 other tasks to do. So it can be a real challenge. Whereas if we just decide, wake up that morning and decide, I'm just going to do this one thing today. It's so much easier to be present.
Oh yeah.
And you can go slow and you can go at the speed that your body is only allowing you to go, you know?
Well, a lot of bodies are like, will give you chronic conditions or diseases to stop you. So you're like, well, I don't want to manifest that. And, or even if you have, you don't want to manifest more. But
Right.
then it's sort of like you're manifesting more like just when you're like, okay, today's the day I'm gonna, and then it's like, oh, this other thing. Or maybe you think that's a priority, but your real priority is talking with your neighbor because like
Totally.
you realize that you need to socialize because you're human. But you're thinking, well, that's not really a priority. Like you have this set of, okay, these things have to be done. You know, I'm a mature woman and a professional and I get things accomplished, you know. And then you're like, okay, so you've set that out, but the inner you is like, yeah, I don't care. It's again smoking. It's like whatever. How do you think you got to the point where it just keeps manifesting more? Like it's like a hydra and it keeps more. What do you think that is? And I don't know the answer to this question either. So don't ask me. I don't know.
I mean, law of attraction, right? It's like you start to create a certain thing and it's like a snowball effect. And then it just keeps going. And you actually, until you become conscious and you stop in your tracks and you consciously say no to things or you consciously delay things and say, yeah, later or whatever, until you do that, which I've like when I don't do it enough. Let's just say I don't do it enough.
I should sing that song.
Right?
We're not gonna take it. No, we're gonna take it. Like I should sing that more. But who am I taking it from? Me, you know, like it's not like take it. But you made the list, you know, like, or you bought that dog. I don't know, you know, like or whatever the things are. But okay, so we don't stop enough is the headline.
We don't stop enough.
So some of it's momentum, like you just get in your little tornado. Some of it is like, I mean, all of it is law of attraction, the more, because the more you focus on it, the more it grows, just like anything. And then, so, okay, realistically, what advice would we give people like us who are like, Jane, stop this crazy thing? What would it's a reference to the Jetsons if you're too young, sorry. And so what advice are we going to say, okay, how do we stop? Because you want to be a responsible mom. You want to be a responsible professional. You want to be a responsible wife, friend, dog, whatever, you know, like you're sort of aware like the damage you do to your life if you don't take care of your life, right? Because entropy, things just start to fall apart and then it's just too much, right? So where does one, because we're going through this right now where we're both like in tornado zone. So we're just like you, Flow Getter audience. Maybe some of you have already conquered this. This is great. Tell us what you think in the comments, please. So the tornado thing, it's like, it's weird. I used to be just so like, I was always having fun and doing things. And I don't know at what point it tipped over to tasks and then Netflix. You know, yes, this is me Netflix. My whole posture also is on the couch, and I'm just like, you know. So why did that change? It seems like I'm smarter, I'm wiser, I'm better, I'm more confident, and yet my life is like less
More
fun
stressful?
and more stressful.
Totally.
This doesn't make any freaking sense. What the hell happened here? Right?
Okay.
Like I was
Well,
more of a
yeah.
butt face for so many years and had more fun. And I don't like the association with like just be whatever and then you'll have more fun because I don't know. Yeah. So tell me.
Well, this is the thing. So, okay. Okay. I
Like
think
I
two
don't
things.
even know.
Because two things popped in my head. Because remember how we talked about, I don't remember when we talked about this. We talked about like kind of okay, we want to focus more on just like the universe topics and spirituality and that sort of thing. And right now we're talking about
Yes.
something very real, right? Like something that's
Oh.
very,
Ew. Delete. Right.
but
Let's talk about the fairies.
but
Yeah.
this is great. That what's perfect about this is I think what's happening, or at least, and let me know what your thoughts on this. I think what could be happening is we know, like, if we thought about what would an ideal life look like, it's still, still in the human form. So, okay, we wouldn't be paying taxes. We wouldn't be, we wouldn't have mortgages.
Some of the government is not. Yeah.
We
Okay.
wouldn't be doing anything that requires responsibility.
You'd be like,
We would,
no. Yeah.
but like for reals, like even having children would be more of a, like a village type of situation,
This is
which
true.
it is, but it's not
Yeah.
where it,
But there's always
used to
going to be
or
something that is just burning your biscuits, whether it's taxes or the village leader is an idiot. I don't know. Like,
yeah, I mean, as far as we know of human history, yes.
there's always something.
But, well, that said, like, really in the utopian, because here's the thing. I'll go back to this whole idea of if you can imagine it exists, right?
Okay.
So if you can imagine a nirvana or a utopia or a heaven or a perfection or whatever, right? Then that exists somewhere. So when I think of it in those terms, it's like, well, there is such thing as an existence without problems. There is. We just have chosen not to partake in that existence at this time.
That's not our deal. We like a little struggle mixed into that martini. Okay. So
so I think the issue, the reason I say that is because I think the issue is because we know this, because we know that there is somewhere out there, this Wafki, we know that this idea of utopia and perfection and ease and relaxation and just peacefulness and all the things, we know that exists somewhere.
Yes.
That's why it's a struggle, because we're not experiencing that.
Yes. Well, which brings up this is a side topic, but maybe, I think I just know. Yeah. Okay. It's all coming in. Getting the downloads. Okay. So, here's what I realized. One of the things that solves all my problems is when I remember to be, and I'm going to specifically use the word grateful, even though I actually like the word appreciation more, because a lot of times I go, okay, I'm like, meow, 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 total overwhelm, meow, 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 right? That's the sound of me complaining. No offense to all the cats out there. But I realized if I go, okay, if you were an alien and someone just dropped you in here and all of a sudden you're like, wow, microphone, friend, dog, sunny day, but like sheet, neat. Or you came from the past where they didn't have fluffy beds. Or, like you start to just look at every single little thing. Like some people had glasses and they're like, oh my God, I can see, that kind of thing. So, it just feels like when I get into gratitude mode, it solves every problem I have. Where I'm just like, and it makes me present. It makes me be like, oh, yay. Like the person who thought of scrunchies. I'm like, these are kind of genius. Like they wrap the fabric so your hair doesn't break. I'm like, genius. Love you. That's amazing. And I start to just get really excited about everything. I'm suddenly less in that, like, hell tornado. It's just like, and I always ask. So I realize that I cannot be in one when I'm in the other. But I think what's difficult is the stopping and going, wait a minute. You have 800 things you could be grateful for. When I journal about it at night, I'm like, oh my God, yay for windows. I mean, like just a window. Like the first time someone went, the bugs stay out. But we can do the screen. I mean, amazing. Like it used to be the bugs came in and then, I don't know. So there's so many things. And I just forget to go into gratitude mode. And then I'm in meow mode. And then, like, these things don't coexist. Like, they just can't. So my solve is just get in a gratitude mode, girl. But then I forget for long periods of time. And then I'm stomping around going, like, I have so much to do. And then I'm like, well, yeah, because you didn't take 30 seconds to go, I'm a really lucky person. I have, blah, blah, blah. Even I got 99 problems, but, whatever isn't one of them, like just like getting in that space. And it feels like if I could do that, I'd be in a whole other current of life. But I'm like, nope, I'm going to go in the deep class 4 rapids because like, I'm not even I'm like, well, it's just got to get done. Like, I'm like arguing myself to be in more pain. I'm like, okay, keep going. But then I realized that I was like, I don't want to live like this. And then I'll go into gratitude mode and I'm all like, eh. But then super easy. So maybe the thing is like, it's hard enough to stop yourself and get in the gratitude mode, but then it's just as easy to get knocked back into the class 4 rapids. So like, do you think, Dr. Tafoya, that this is a, like how do you get, is it a practice thing, but how would you really tell someone, like, okay, if you really leaned into this is what you have to do? What are your thoughts?
Yes. Oh my God, you're excellent. So much goodness.
Okay.
So much genius just happened. Yes. I think even just a few things. Well, a few things we could do. We have reminders on our phones. I used to use my phone as I should go back and doing that. Where you literally set a reminder like every, maybe 3 times a day, be grateful, and it beeps.
You actually did that? That's amazing.
I mean, it wasn't be grateful, but
I'd be like, shut up. I would just get like, it's bugging me. I'm like, you did okay. But that's really good idea. I think I love it.
So that's one idea is to like whatever is, just get or, put Post-it notes around your house, be grateful in the mirror, whatever. But I also I think you're talking about this idea of shifting habits because it's so easy. Well, okay, a few things. Emotional habits, and those can, how do we say, the bad habits we've gotten into over the course of our life. Sometimes we fall back into them because we didn't have a good night's sleep or we didn't eat a great meal. We didn't exercise. Like sometimes the physical world, our bodies are craving something that we are depriving them of, whether it's sleep or nutrients or movement, and so then it's easy to go back into, or stillness. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Or stillness. Thank you.
Oh my God, you're super brilliant. It is. I think a lot of times it's not you have stuck emotions in your subconscious, like, well, yeah, but also I didn't sleep. I haven't eaten anything. I've been running around all day and my teenagers are from hell. So yeah.
Totally. Yes. Yeah. Like I haven't had a damn break. How am I supposed to feel, Yeah.
Yeah.
So
grateful.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you're like, yeah, I'm not hydrated, all these things, then you give yourself a little bit of a break. Like, well, of course I'm in a bad mood. Okay.
Yes.
So then how do you prevent the going down the spiral? Okay. I love it.
Yes.
You're really good at that. In fact, side note to our audience, I was like really crabby. This was like 7 years ago. And one day I was just like, all like, you're like, have you eaten today? And I'm like, no. Or I think you said recently. And you're like, maybe try that. And I'm like, yeah. And then I ate. I was like, oh my God, I'm so like, I just had one of those days, right? So sometimes it's just put some food in the hole and then you're
Yes.
good. Yeah.
Oh, that's exactly it. I've noticed this even myself often. I'm like, I'll start to get like anxious and I'm like, what is wrong with me? Oh, my body needs food. It needs something to work with right now. Something good. It's not just food. It's like nutrients,
Yes.
it needs something good to work with.
Things the creator left on the planet. Yes. Okay.
Yes. and I see it with my kid too, where I'll pick him up from school and he's just like he's, he's irritated or whatever. And I'm like, well, he hasn't had lunch for like 4 hours and he's growing. So he's like, yeah, he's hungry. So let's get him home. Let's get him a snack. And then all of a sudden he wakes up, and he's like, he can have a conversation with him again, And,
you just give him a block of cheese in the car and throw it in the back.
Open mouth.
Yeah.
Open hole.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if we like junk food, you could use those cheesy puffs and like fling them, like, like play a game. You're like, okay, I'm going to randomly throw food back here and you try to catch it. And then, but those are bad for you because they have seed oils and other bad things.
Use grapes.
And additives. Grapes.
Something that's, yeah.
But then he can't choke on it. Okay, sorry.
Right. All of a sudden you're going to the hospital.
Turn left. Oh God. Okay.
Oh my
God.
God.
Bringing it together. Bringing it in. Okay. So you're saying check your bod.
Check your bod. Check yourself.
Check your bod.
Yes.
Okay.
Check your bod.
Yeah. Like,
yes.
how's the body doing? Okay.
Yes.
What
that
else?
is a huge one. And then, so I guess, okay, one way is like I said, reminders around your house, on your phone, whatever. 2, body check. Absolutely. Okay. And then 3 is like, okay, if we have to take it a little further, because I think sometimes we distract ourselves with a long laundry list. And I know we've discussed this, but I'm just going to remind it. I do too. Sometimes we distract ourselves. We use it as a distraction tool because we don't want to face something that's painful.
I never do that. I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm sorry, I don't understand you. Yeah, let's talk deeper about this one. Go.
So we've done a few podcasts, or we've touched on this, and we have a core wounds podcast, a feelings and emotions podcast. But again, sometimes we like when eating and so, okay. There's another layer. Sorry, I just realized
there's a pre-layer. Okay.
So the eating, like the body part, sometimes is difficult to, it's like, oh yeah, I say go eat a salad and someone's like, wow, that sounds like the last thing I want to eat. I actually just want to go eat a burger. Or exercise. What do you mean exercise? Like that's way more difficult. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of times what I've seen, and I did this too, is when we haven't cleaned out those core wounds, our bodies won't allow us to feel better, no matter what we do.
Dun, dun, dun. Mm-hmm.
So,
and why is that, Dr. Tafoya? You're going to answer that in the next few minutes. Ready? Go.
I'm going to answer it. Go. And it's because our higher self, the universe, our conscious self, our environment is begging us to, and I love that you use that word, like begging you to become conscious and aware of, and face it, conscious and aware and face the pain, essentially. Like that, whatever happened that brought you that trauma, like it's not going to go away by ignoring it. It won't, I promise. Like
that is very disappointing because
it's so disappointing.
It's been my strategy for several decades.
And I mean,
so
and
now,
I totally,
okay. All right. Just kidding.
Right?
Continue.
Yeah. And I am, I know we've talked about this too, like with the Abraham idea, don't focus on the bad stuff. Just go to where it's good. And I am fully on board with that.
Fully.
The thing is though, is if that's too difficult and if it's been too difficult and it continues to be too difficult, then that's clearly not working. Try different. Because my guess, my hunch is that you have to go back and really face the true pain. Because once you do that, you open up your entire world to, everything else becomes easier. Yeah. Diet changes, exercise routines, getting better sleep, manifesting better relationships, seeing yourself in a better way, in a more lovely way. Like everything just becomes better. Your laundry list of to-do things probably will start to get smaller because you realize, oh, I created this thing because all I'm doing is distracting myself from the pain. When the
Right.
pain's gone, you don't need to do that anymore.
Right.
And so
Now, did
magically
you?
things happen.
Okay, and I want people to watch that because I think we talk a lot about that in the core wounds, and we're not going to get into that here. But did you notice, for those of us who are new, Erica, you can watch all the podcasts, but Erica had a traumatic event, and then she faced the pain, and then life got way better. Did you notice that experience when you went through that your life got lighter for a while? I mean, we're kind of now back talking about this as if like the lists are bearing down on us. So is it pain that we're not facing, or are we just letting shit get out of control? I asked you like 6 questions there. Sorry.
So, okay, that one experience, I really did come to a really great place with it. But I've had other experiences. Have I cleaned those out? No. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, I've gone through divorce. I've gone through relationship stuff, you know? And I think that I've definitely.
You're cleaner than most.
I feel like I'm clean. I feel like I'm a decent amount of clean, but I absolutely guarantee you that I could clean out more. There's more,
There's always more cleaning.
There's always more cleaning to do. And it's kind of like a house. Like you clean it and then it's not going to stay clean for the rest of your life. You have to go back and clean it again.
Which is part of on that to-do list that haunts us all.
Yes.
So, okay. So then one of the things to look at, you're saying, is really make a decision. Is my hell tornado created because I'm avoiding something, or am I just kind of being unconscious and not being grateful and just getting spun up because it's a modern world and things are different than they were back in the 1950s? And, and even then, actually, what's so weird, I'm reading this book written back in the early days, like 50s, 60s or whatever. And you wouldn't believe anxiety, depression, overwhelm. It's the same thing. So I'm like, okay, people haven't changed. I think people are like, oh,
no.
it was so.
No, it wasn't.
It was not any different, which was kind of shocking to me because I sort of tend to romanticize. I'm like, it was so much more relaxed. I mean, my parents did not seem stressed out in the 80s. I'm just going to say. They were just like, it was the 80s. So no, I don't know. But my point is that stress is just going to be there. So the key, I'm saying this again, is discerning, is this a time to just stop, get on the grateful track, and just be like, all right, you're grateful you have a sink to do these dishes, because some people don't have this, or however you need to get yourself to just be grateful for things like, yay, dishes, so I can not eat off my hand, things like that. What were you going to say? I can see I see your thoughts.
I just had a thought.
Yeah.
I feel like it's not an or thing because nothing really is, right?
Right.
It's an and thing because I do notice when I have gone through an experience and I have really faced it and kind of worked through it, the gratitude part isn't even a question. It's so easy. I don't have to work on it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I think when we find ourselves having to continually turn our attention back to gratitude, it's like hard work to do. That is an indication that there's something else going on.
You're such a psychologist. I love it. Without a degrry, you're a total psychologist.
Interesting. Thank you.
Yeah. That's why you're Dr. Tifoya. I air quoted for those of you listening on MP3s. So I love this. Okay, I like to say things over again so that I get it, and then also our audience can be like, wait, what? And then I said it. So if you can pop back into gratitude, that just means your focus was a little off and you easily can slip back there and go, yay, life. If you struggle to get into gratitude, then it is time to go to the deep core of your being and get in touch with your feelings. And whether it's traumatic pain or past events, I would say for a lot of people, it's just the I'm not good enough story. And, at least that would be, I would say that would be, I have like less, I would say more, well, I have trauma like everybody else, but just the like, that that sort of, oh my God, I'm not good enough. Like, so if I can't be good enough and if I can't get to the thing, then I'll never be, I won't know. That won't be confirmed. Right. We will never
Yeah.
know if you were good enough because it'll never happen. Yay. That kind of so so then that's the signal to go back and go, all right, journal. I'm a big fan of journaling because then you can talk to your higher self or God, spirit, interdimensionals, whoever you think is helping you. You can kind of get more in touch with yourself and start to work those things out, and then decide if you need professional help or coaching or something, another support mechanism. Okay, so now that we figured that out, we're perfect and we've solved all of our problems. Do you have any other deep thoughts on this topic? Because, I know it's not the end of the to-do list. I just feel like I want it to go away. And it's that false, like, if I slay it enough times, it'll go kind of thing. And there's so many books about these working habits and do it this way, do it in micro, like, how are we going to slice and dice? It's like those where they chop up all the meat and fling it and whatever. It's just like, if you do it this way, it'll, like, yeah. And I think sometimes that stuff does work. Like, those different strategies are very helpful depending on who you read and when you read it and time of your life and how you're applying it. But I still think there's some other little nugget here with the chaos. Like,
Yeah.
like, and why it seems to feel
Oh,
almost out of control. Go ahead.
one thing I did think of, because I was thinking about, okay, in my own life, I feel like we each individually have things that we come into this life that we pre-chose to work on. And I know for me, sometimes I get overwhelmed, and overwhelm can look different for everybody, but I know I sometimes get overwhelmed with human energy. And the reason I say that, you're laughing.
Uh-huh.
You're like, uh-huh.
I know it's coming.
The reason I say is because I think another layer to probably tackling this to-do list chaos is knowing yourself. Because I think sometimes we don't know what we're capable of and what we are challenged with well enough. We won't really know how best to tackle the so there's the okay, so
the thing. Yeah.
yeah, the thing, right? So for me it's like okay, I was just having this conversation yesterday. Where I was talking with my boyfriend and we were talking about you get the kids you get for a good reason, like we were talking about like his relationship with his parents, and then because he doesn't have kids, and so him being the kid, and then me having my relationship with my kid, and then of course me having my relationship with my parents. But we were kind of talking about how awesome it is where you get to be similar to your parents in certain ways, in the right ways, and different from your parents in the right ways. Mm-hmm. Because those are the things that you get to work on. But when you don't recognize that and don't see how different you are from, your closest people in your life, it's really hard to not feel overwhelmed sometimes if you don't know. And then if you don't communicate, your needs in a way that says, hey, this is how I am. I need this, out of this relationship because I am this way. So that's like I know that's a whole different,
oh yeah, families. We should definitely do a family podcast.
God, yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Well, and just, and that, even, yeah. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying communicating isn't second nature for a lot of people in that way. So that's like a whole other drain, because like, why can't everyone read my mind? And why can't they just see that I'm not, so there's so much like I think adding to what you're saying, interpersonal dynamics either give energy or they kind of drain energy, or both sometimes. So I think you're adding that to the list of humans. Oy vey. I tend to get energy.
Beautifully said. Yeah, which is,
but not always. And I can be just as flat out as anybody else too. So, okay, keep going.
Yeah. So I'll just kind of, so to sort of bring it full circle, because we started talking about overwhelm and how
Yeah.
to, you know, so the overwhelm could look like a variety of things in your life, And so I think really that the goal is to, um, there are tactics that you can use if it's sort of like the, kind of accidentally dipping back into old habits that have been healed, or,
Hmm.
and that would be the things like, oh yeah, put the alarm on your phone and put the post-it notes up and go eat the good food and do the exercise.
And make sure to do your gratitude journals in the morning and night. That, keep
Exactly.
yourself in the habit of focusing, because the brain is negatively biased. It just is for survival. That's like a animal part of our brain is like worry, 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 freak out. So it's hard to get it to just be like, hey, like, so you're working against nature also. So it's good to have those habits. Sorry, keep going.
Yeah. And so don't ditch those things. But also, there's more to it, and no, and go there as well. Whether it's like, hey, I don't know myself well enough, so I don't even know what's going to make me not feel overwhelmed. Or, wow, I've experienced this pain and I have these triggers, and, whatever it is, like, go there too. Like, just, I'm not saying you need to do all these things in 5 hours, but, like,
Put it on
take
your list and get more overwhelmed.
totally.
That's what I do. I'm like, oh, I know what the path to solve my problems. I'll add that to my huge list of things I need to do. And then I freak
I'll
out
just
some
put it at the
more.
bottom. So,
Yeah, yeah. So I'm going to deprioritize myself because that's important. Yeah.
uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, we all do it.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
sorry, I
What are
keep
your
interrupting.
thoughts?
No,
No,
that's so
you are
good.
awesome.
Okay. I just love it. I love that you really are super aware of, I'm like, why it's like a windstorm outside. Like it was all calm and peaceful. Now it's like end of days wind.
Oh,
I'm like, okay.
oh.
Let's focus. Okay. Focus. That'd be another thing. Um, I've noticed that with certain things, I'm like because I'm sometimes painfully slow with stuff and I cannot get progress. And then my husband, I was like, say nice things about me right now. I need to know. And he's like, well, you really did this quickly and this thing really quickly. And one was like forming a relationship with a neighbor, like instantly, like a
Oh,
new,
nice.
something that was important, or getting something like there's certain things that I'm just like, boom, and I'm done. And I'm like, oh, yay, me. And then there's other things. I'm like, why is this a long road to nowhere fill, but yet you still have to engage with it for some reason. And the answer is, I don't know. But it's like, yeah, there's going to be things in your life that you're going to do, even if you don't know yourself completely and you don't know why. It's like, yeah, not all of the things on the task list are your forte. Half of them you are not that good at, but you signed up for them, or you didn't, but you have to eat. Like maybe you're not a good cook, but maybe microwave food is bad for you in the little plastic things, and you're like, but you're like, I suck at, cooking, but you have to make yourself do it, but it just takes you long, you don't enjoy it. And everyone's like, just do it, you'll enjoy it. And you're like, shut up. And, like, it's just not your thing, but you still have to do it because it's better than eating plastic for dinner. So, sometimes it's just like, it's going to feel like a drain, and it's going to take some time for that to shift and be like less painful. And so maybe the highlight there is just being realistic, which is not something I'm good at. I'm good at everything and I should get it all done and it all should take 5 minutes. And I'm just, because I can get a lot done. So I sort of over assume that I'm good at everything. Everything is whatever. And yet I'm like struggling with some stuff. I'm like, you're not that good at it. I'm like, oh, well, that's shocking because I'm so amazing. And some people, like, I've taken tests and I won't go into it, but essentially, like, I do have a lot of aptitudes, but then, like anybody, I have stuff that I'm so not good at. And some people have a more narrow aptitude list. Like, they're really good at maybe only a fourth of the things out of the buffet. And so those three-fourths of things are just going to go slower. And you have to, and I'm not saying I'm like better in any way. It's just that I'm so used to being like, boom, boom, boom. And then I'm like, that should, and it just doesn't work. And I'm like, yeah, shocker, you're a human. Like, you suck at that. I'm like, oh. And so that expectation that you can get, it's like setting these, basically my point is setting an expectation of some kind when you have these lists. It's like I have this ideal utopian, speaking of utopia, in my head about all the things that need to be accomplished and how long they should take. And if it doesn't happen, I'm like, bad, Lisa, bad, which drains you if you're at all negative towards yourself or anything. And then your energy just goes beep every time you do that. And you're like, and then that didn't happen. Boop. And then, so it's like you're compounding, trying to make something happen faster than it's gonna. And then you're feeling negative about it. So you're draining. So I'm like, and then that's draining and that's draining. And pretty soon you're like, why are you so tired, girl? Well, so self-awareness of what's actually happening is a really good thing. But when you're used to being, and that's why I said at the beginning, it's not good to have the like clueless tornado thing, because and I think you've said this forever, if you know yourself more, the more you love yourself and the more you embrace yourself. So even in this conversation, I was like, oh yeah, you could give yourself a huge break and just love yourself. Like, yeah, you're really slow with that. And I love you. Instead of, come on, lady, which is, so I think it's like getting to understand how you operate better will give you a break. And if you put something on the list, really look at it and go, is this going to be a fast or a slow thing for you? Set your expectations accordingly.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We made like
That's
10,
awesome.
50,000 great ideas here today. Okay.
I was thinking, oh, we have so much material to cut up.
I know. We have so many social
awesome.
clips. So
Yeah.
so I want to recap everything, but I want to make sure that I'm capturing everything so we can, and I don't even know if I remember the whole thing, but I like to kind of recap at the end because so people can be like, okay, we got
fast forward to the end.
Yeah.
Let me just tell me everything you
fast
said.
forward.
Just kidding.
But sometimes I'm just I'm like a squirrel sometimes. So if I want to remember something, I'm like, okay, what's the bullet point? What's the, because I can remember that. So I'm like, okay, so let's take it from the top. 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Gratitude, if easy, or always keep doing it. But if it starts to become difficult, then look deeper. Okay. What else did we say? I don't remember.
I
so much.
I know, like,
take care of your body. Take care of your body.
Yeah.
Set expectations. Watch what you're focusing on. If human beings are draining, like make sure, so it's kind of more of a boundaries thing, a communication thing. Like there's a lot you can do. Because I think there's other things we said that were brilliant, but we forgot them already. I think the headline is that you can do something about this. Because I get really victim-y. The world's too busy. I cannot deal with it. I just want the internet age to stop. I'm like, no, the 50s, they were also stressed. Like, this is not, like, you're not going to escape this. This is you. So it gives you back control and ownership. But it also doesn't, you go, okay, there is something I can do. My life doesn't have to always look like an insane chaos to-do list hell tornado. So that's empowering. And that's what we're here at Flow Getter to do, is to help empower ourselves and hopefully give you guys some tried and true wisdom or new questions or new perspectives so that we can give you empowerment and help you take more control and more love inside yourself. So that's my 50 cents. So
that's fantastic.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
There we are.
There we are.
And
there was one like
scene.
There was one thing that I will
jack it up.
Place it
totally,
elsewhere.
No, just totally jack it up.
But one thing that I forgot, I think this is important.
Yeah.
Because I don't think people realize this.
Ooh.
Is the physical, taking care of yourself physically is a challenging stuff. And I know I've said this before, maybe I did say this, but I think really like highlighting that. In other words, don't expect to just change your diet, change your exercise routine if you haven't cleaned out the stuff, because it doesn't work like that. I've not seen it work like that. If you've well, it could work like that, I suppose, but I haven't seen it. Let's just say, because I think what happens
Yeah.
is we continue to make choices in the physical world that keep us bogged down. Like if I'm struggling with some sort of past trauma or something, and then I'm eating the foods I'm eating because it helps keep me down, or I'm not exercising because it helps keep me feeling bad.
Yeah.
Like those things are going to be a way bigger challenge. And I guess the flip side, the reason I wanted to say it is because the flip side is it gets a lot easier. You don't even like it almost is like you'll almost start to crave the stuff that's good for you when you clean out your emotional baggage. Okay. So I just wanted to say that because I don't think people really truly understand how huge that is. I mean, we hear struggles with diet. We hear struggles with exercise. We hear, I didn't sleep well. Like these things are huge.
You just described most of last week for me. Thank you. What?
I'm saying it because I am a victim of it. I also, struggle with this when I know, but I don't think people realize just how it's like, no, it's not enough to just try to eat the right foods. It's not going to work unless you've cleaned out the stuff. It's just not. Go ahead and take all the vitamins you want and supplements you want, but it's not going to work. I promise is my point. Do you know what I'm saying?
Well, I feel your passion. And I would say that I'm going to give it an 80% truth score. Okay. Because I always feel I feel that 9 out of 10 doctors agree with you on that, because I think there's a reason you're stuck in the rut. And usually a rut is emotional, psychological. Every now and then you hear of the person. So that's where the 20 to 10% of the people that are just like, just whatever, for whatever reason, they drop the hammer and the change happens. And I love that too.
Agreed.
And they're dealing with their stuff maybe instantaneously with that change. Like they were ready when they were ready, right?
That's what I was going to say. It's an and thing. Saying.
Okay.
It's like, exactly.
The change happens when you're ready.
The change. Yes.
So they were ready, they're ready.
Which is why it happened.
Not in a baby step kind of way. They're ready. And I am ready.
Right.
Instead of
and they help each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you start working out and you start feeling better and you're ready to at the same time address whatever's happening underneath all that.
This is true.
It's like simultaneous,
Yeah.
So I totally agree with you.
Yeah. And the reason being is we came here to experience existence in this dimension, in this sort of format of body and all these things. And along with that came some like physical and, physical plus and minuses, emotional plus and minuses, life path plus and minuses. And I think it's just more of it's a perspective on what life is and why we came here. And that suits us. We're obviously open to other interpretations, but I think it's really helpful because you went, okay, I signed up for this kind of, this challenge that I'm having that seems to be difficult for this personality, but I'm ready to, and I think you have to believe that change can happen. I think that's really the main thing. Yeah. Just like you believe that you can make some of these slight adjustments and then pretty soon the to-do list isn't so insane. So I love all this. I say we give it a lean in to all these little pearls of wisdom. And I know they're true because I've done them to a certain degree, all of these things. It's just that when you really want to get over the next hump, you got to lean in a little more, a little harder, because you get to level 10 and it's not as easy as it was at level 2, So it's like we've been through all of this, which is why I think we're doling out the wisdoms. But when it's like, okay, does this work when not the stakes, but the amount of chaos is higher and the more wisdom and responsibility and all this awareness. So I'm excited to lean in. I'm excited to hear from our listeners. And I'm excited about you, Erica, and all the wisdom that you bring to the Flow Getter show. So thank you. You are. And I love your hair. Can we just talk about how awesome your hair is?
Oh,
the gray and the silver, faboo. Like it's super fabulous. Those of you who are listening, she looks amazing. So thank you, Miss Amazing. Flow Getter folks, we are so glad you made it to the end, and thank you for joining us again. If you'd like to get more of us in different dimensions, go to our website at flowgetter.com. FLOWGETTER. I don't know how to spell. And we're going to see you there. And we're just, again, in appreciation of you all. All right. Until next time, we'll talk to you later, Erica. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.